Hey, good morning, everyone. 43 minutes after 9 on this Wednesday. Very funny. Aaron Wolf, you thought I was going to put your emoji on there. I was going to click on it, weren't you? Ha-ha. I know your game. Okay, I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to SnowTALK. This is where we have a chance to look at our snow chances in the days ahead. And normally, I feel like I always have something to talk about every winter in the distance and nothing in the short term. But this year has been way different, right? So it's been busy for us. Now, we've had a nice little break. It's just cold that we're dealing with right now. But we do get a little more active down the road. I'm going to have an update on where we stand with the weekend system, which is really a hybrid of two different types of systems moving to the area. And of course, next week, a lot of talk about how things are going to play out for the southern systems. Yeah, southern systems. I think there's more than one that will be at play. We're going to get into all that. As always, you guys can comment on the social media side, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, all available for you guys if you want to chime in and ask some questions. Right now, really, what would help me out is just type in there. And some of you already have. I saw Angie's reports. I think I saw someone else a second ago. The screen's moving by. But check out and see if your thermometer at your home, see what you dropped to this morning and type that in there. And if you have your numbers available, and it'd be interesting to see how the ranges are. Because there were decent ranges, depending on whether or not you're in the metro or out of the metro. More on that coming up in just a second. Let's get right into the snowboard for today. And we do have a chance to get some more flurries in the area for tomorrow. That will be flurries early on, but if they linger too long, they will likely become just pockets of drizzle. So it's a minor issue tomorrow. All right. It's just going to keep us mostly cloudy. There will be a bit of sun tomorrow. I'm not going to downplay it too much as far as the sun potential. I think there will be some sun breaks, just a little more active at times in the radar as another front moves on by. Then we get into Saturday night and Sunday. That looks to still be rain going over to snow. Looks to be light. And then we got two southern systems, one early week, one late week for next week that we will need to monitor. All right, we'll get to that here in just a few moments. First off, I thought I'd show you guys this. I put it on the show yesterday, and let me do this full screen. This is a map showing all the areas that have had snowfall on these gauges there and comparing them to where they should be for this time of the year. Everywhere you see blue, snowfall is running above normal for that particular location. Where you see red, it's running behind, in some cases way behind. But Louisville is actually one of the blue spots. We are 10.4 inches above normal right in the heart here of the Ohio Valley. Chicago is down more than 5 inches for the season. Look at the Twin Cities. Minneapolis coming in right now, more than a foot of snow here off the mark. You get into Fargo, more than a foot. We've had more snow than Fargo, North Dakota. That's pretty wild. Even Spokane, Washington, we've got them beat. Salt Lake City, a lot of ski resorts in that area. They're down nearly 20 inches for the season. They've only had 6. Really, the Rockies here had their main snow in October. It was really a an early autumn snow that they had, really good skiing set up for them. And then it just kind of flipped over to the eastern part of the country in Ohio Valley. And that's where we've been kind of stuck in the deep freeze. Even Tupelo, Mississippi, down here to the south, staying at 2.3 inches of snow. Anyway, I thought that was kind of cool that we are having a chance to lead the leaderboard. That is not often that we get the chance to do that here in our area. So there you go. Fargo's like, you can have it probably. Okay, this morning it was cold, right? As you guys know, I'm looking at some of your numbers. 0 for Linda over into Milltown, over Marengo area, heading back into Crawford County. Let's see. Joel hit 7. Jason hit 4. Michael hit 3 this morning over in Simpsonville. Kathy, 2 below 0 this morning in Trimble County. Renee, about 4 in that area. Josh, 2 below 0 into Franklinton this morning. Let's see. We've got 6 degrees for Angela over into Spencer County. And even Steve reporting about 6 degrees right now, or was this morning, into Fern Creek. Here's a snapshot of some of the lows I was able to snatch. And this is not representative of every location, but Louisville dropped to 10. So that made this morning Louisville's coldest morning of the winter season. Not the coldest it's been in years or anything. Last winter, during this week, we actually dropped to 3. So we've been colder last winter so far compared to this one. It just doesn't seem like it because it's been so prolonged. And that's what really stands out with this round of cold and snow, right? 3 degrees into West Salem. Several spots 1 below 0, including Shelby County. It was a common sight that I saw. Several of the sites that are actually into Shelby County were dropping to and below 0, just barely below. The coldest I was able to see there, North Vernon at 5 below 0. Cold and frigid, right? And we'll be back to these types of values again next week for a couple of nights. So this is it for this week on that type of extreme cold. We'll bounce back out and warm up toward the weekend. We're up to a lovely 12 right now. I mean, get the shorts out. We got 3 in Salem and still holding on to about 1 below 0 into Bedford, Indiana. All right, you can tell by the Sky Tri-Camera, which is a cold Arctic day. You always wonder what it's like to live in northern Canada. This is what it's basically like. Snowpack every day. And Renee, I think you mentioned that snow crystals you saw in the air. Some of that could have been fog that was forming, but it actually is just, you don't really see the fog because we're so cold. It just becomes more fine crystals that take place. That is very common. Sometimes they call it Arctic dust. You get that in very, very cold air scenarios. So that's more than likely what you saw, but not unusual at all as the core of the Arctic air. And the Arctic air tomorrow or next week, they'll be arriving. That will be absolutely centered from the Arctic Circle, diving straight down into our area. So it's going to be really, really cold early next week. All right, more on that in just a few. There's the snowpack starting to light up. Now the sun is above the horizon. We got officially 2 inches still on the ground in Louisville. Running, 10 days? 10 days now we've had snow on the ground here into Louisville. Okay, here's a wider view showing still that snowpack back out to the west. Hard to see the clouds yet in the snowpack until the sun comes up, but you get the idea. A little bit of rain down to the south. Here's a little wave that's going to be coming by for tomorrow. And I know the one yesterday, boy, it seriously underperformed yesterday in a big way. And the signs started to show up when we were on here yesterday that something was a little off here. This thing's not connecting. Moisture levels are way, way low. And that trend just continued. But the trade-off is that we had a strong wind with a lot of that moisture that was still in the air trying to get out of the clouds. We had a southwest wind at the same time, and boy, that just ramped up with that dry air, allowing for a wind gust of 37 yesterday, which helped push us close to 40 for a high. So that's how you get an overachieving day, even with snowpack or those types of ingredients. Always hard to pick out, but we do it often, it seems like here. All right, well, today it is going to be a cold, frozen day. We're not going to move very much on the thermometer today. We'll stay generally into the 20s. Some of you may not even get above 20. Across portions of Indiana, but we'll have a pretty day. A lot of sunshine in the area. Okay, this wave for tomorrow, it is very similar to the one yesterday. So we're just going to go with flurries right now in this. Again, if it sticks around, it would be a pocket or two of drizzle. I don't see any accumulation potential with this. This is a very minor issue. If you are traveling northeast into Ohio, they will once again be more into the core of the moisture with the system, so you may have a better opportunity to see some snow showers moving on by. But here locally, it's a minor issue. Okay, relatively quiet overall for us. Because it's moving by, though, we may not get as warm as we would like, but I still think we can get above freezing for a few hours on your Thursday. Friday, looks like a lot of clouds, so we're not going to get a ton of sun, but we'll have a southwest wind back again, and that should help us get it back into the 40s. This particular model does not want to do that. It only takes us to 39. Some other data we've been looking at gets us to 53. Still big differences, and it's really because modeling is trying to factor in the idea that there could still be snow on the ground, and there will be, and that southwest wind component, the amount of sunshine. A lot of that has to come together, but we've seen this happen twice now in a warming scenario, last Sunday and yesterday, where if we can get the sun and the southwest wind and a dry enough air component, yes, we can overachieve. So we've got mid to upper 40s right now. We're kind of splitting the difference on it, and we'll see how the sky condition looks tomorrow or on Friday to decide if we need to move that number up or down, but no big issues on Friday. Most of the precipitation with this weekend wave is going to happen late Friday night. So if you have Friday evening plans, I don't see any concern at all right now. The system's going to be lagging a bit to arrive. Now, once it does arrive, a bit of caution for those of you that are in any valley areas where the air can get trapped. That cold air, again, is heavy. It sinks down into valleys. It's tough to get it out of the way. It's almost like if you had a roadway and you filled up all the potholes with ice or snow. It's one of those setups where if you were to have the snow shovel go across, well, the snow that's stuck in the pothole wouldn't get picked up, right? It would just scoot right over it. That's how warm air does in this scenario. It'll scoot over the area, but in any little pocket where there is cold air trapped, the warm air will miss it initially. That's where we could get perhaps a bit of sleet or a burst of snow before you go to rain. It looks very minor right now, and I think it's only going to be in the valley areas and northeast sections of wave country and could even be out of our area altogether. But it is a setup that does tend to show that sometimes. Even if you were to see this, and I'm probably talking way too much about it because you're really going to be asleep. You won't even notice this, but it would be very short-lived. Warm air will take over. We're going to get rain. Will it be enough rain to wash away all the snow? Likely not, but a good chunk of it, yeah. Those snow plows that are in parking lots, they're going to be here for a while. I would say maybe Valentine's Day, if not even longer, before we get rid of those plows. Those dirty snow plows will be around. So that part always takes a while to get rid of. But a lot of the side roads have been really icy and stuff. That will dramatically improve with warmer weather and some rainfall. Okay, so what about this hybrid setup for the weekend? Well, it starts with that round of rain as we head into late Friday night into Saturday, as I mentioned. It passes on by. As it does, there is another piece that is going to sneak in behind it and try to connect into the backside of the low to enhance it somewhere around, I would say, Knoxville or Chattanooga, Tennessee, as we head into Sunday, and then it quickly moves toward the nation's capital for Sunday and for Monday. We are trying to figure out, though, where will this low form, and will it be slow enough to allow for snow to be in our area, or will it be so fast when it wraps in behind the rain that it's a rain to snow setup, but we're drying out quickly for the rest of the day on Sunday and dry on Monday. Both scenarios are still actually at play, but if there's one that has to be favored more than the other right now, it is the faster solution. And that's what this model shows. The rain moves on by. Small little break when the rain eases Saturday, midday, early afternoon. So majority of the rain for your daytime activities is going to be the hours of, say, sunrise through about midday Saturday. So if we be up early on Saturday, it should be raining, but by mid-afternoon, you should be begin to dry out. But temperatures start to fall. And then here comes that little wave that, again, will sneak in behind this and will try to enhance the snowfall right across Kentucky and into the mountains of Tennessee. But at the moment, the faster, more easterly idea seems to be winning out. I've seen more support for that than I have of the slower idea. But if you are, say, around just south of Anderson County, Washington County, Kentucky, even Marion County, Adair County, just keep an eye on this, because if there is a slowing at all, I think you're more at risk. You would have snow being thrown back on your area as we head into Saturday night and early on Sunday. It would be flurries elsewhere, even including Louisville. But for areas of central and southeast Kentucky, it's worth watching. I don't think it's going to be a big snow, but it would make the difference between flurries and some light accumulations. So we'll watch that. But right now, the faster idea, again, is winning out. On the rainfall amounts, I'm glad this is not higher than what it is. We don't need a half inch of rain or more to fall on a snowpack that will start to lead to flooding issues. So we and watch out, a lot of water will be pooling. Now we're thinking a quarter to a half inch now, quarter to 3/4 or quarter to 3/10, excuse me, will be the most common rainfall amount. We can handle that, but we get above that, again, around the half inch mark or more, the water is going to start to pull off the snowpack, and runoff is going to be excessively high because a lot of the drains are still going to be blocked by ice and snow that is still sitting on the grates themselves there. So please just use caution traveling as we head into late Friday night and Saturday. Hydroplaning concerns will be higher than normal because of this. Okay, so that moves on by. As far as snowfall, you'll be able to see that the majority of the snow probabilities are a little bit higher the more east you go, eastern Kentucky, into the nation's capital there, but light snow otherwise. And we'll see. If it slows down, then okay, we have a different storyline to talk about. But all we can do at this point are look at the trends and how things have been progressing so far this week, and the trend is faster in east. We'll look at the midday data, and we'll let you know if there's any changes. Okay, otherwise, we get into next week, and the big story is actually twofold. The biggest one and the most obvious one for a lot of the lower 48, a good chunk of the United States, is the Arctic plunge here that's going to come our way. Now, this, again, has its origins in the Arctic Circle. Very, very cold. It'll dive straight down into the Midwest, the plains, the Ohio Valley, the Northeast. I mean, it's fairly large in its drop. But we're back to the same question here that we've been talking about all week, and I still think it's valid. How far south will this cold air dive? That is absolutely crucial on determining where the storm track is going to be for waves of low pressure. Because here's the thing, you're dealing with warm waters here in the Gulf of Mexico. You've got the Arctic Circle air coming straight down toward I-20 and I-10. Rarely does that happen, but boy, that will just automatically induce a storm system. It's just the differences between the high amounts of moisture and the warmth in the Gulf and that cold air driving in from the north. It is a perfect setup to have a winter storm form. But two things with this we've seen before. Sometimes the cold air, if it is indeed strong, perhaps it could trend stronger. If so, that will shove that potential storm track way down to the south. But if it is a more gradual drop into the lower 48, does not sink all the way to I-10, well, then the storyline changes. Let's take the winter storm aspect off to the side for a moment. Let's just look at the cold air only. If we were not to get any storm systems at all, we are on tap for at least a couple of days in the teens for highs. Monday and Tuesday stand out as the most likely days at the moment. And then lows at night, 0 to about 5 above in many spots. The city of Louisville, probably 5 to 10 above. But again, very cold early next week. So that will adjust as we evolve through the next few days. So what about the storm track side? Well, that again is depending on the depth of cold air as these storm systems develop. I'm sure you've seen now social media by now. They're really panicking in the Carolinas and Georgia because this is the area to watch for a winter storm to develop. On the edge of that Arctic cold would be across the deep south and then quickly more east than up the coast, but still it would be a combination of ice and snow in areas that just don't normally see it. And it could be, quite significant. But if the cold air depth is off and is not diving as far south as expected, then that area of potential wintry weather will go more north and start to impact Kentucky. And that's the reason why we have Kentucky in the zone as the area to watch and monitor. There are a few ensembles, yes, that still, I'm not going to get into a lot of the maps to show you where the placement is because it gets confusing. I'm not trying to confuse you guys. I want to keep this very, very simple at this early stage. Then we'll get into the finer details later this week. But right now, just on paper, that's the area to watch. Just be aware a storm system in the south will develop. And some of the data tries to bring it toward Kentucky. There's majority, though, do like the deep south getting it. But as I mentioned on the snow board, there are two. There are strong hints. There will be a second one that will develop as we get into the later portions of the week. But at that point, the cold air will begin to retreat and pull back again to the north. And that retreat will likely automatically just push the storm track back into our area. So the second one may have a better opportunity to cause us more wintry aspects than the first one will be. But either way, those are two systems to watch carefully. All right, looking at the long term, here is where we are facing for the cold air. It's been locked in, repeating pattern. It's been this way since just after the new year. The polar vortex is actually, there's two polar vortices in the area across the globe. Not exactly a split, but there's two areas that have been very dominant, ruling the globe. I mean, parts of Asia have been run into very cold weather as well, like we have been. Meanwhile, Europe actually hasn't been doing too bad. But this is a setup. When you get this placement, it is very hard to shake this up. Very, very hard. You'll know when things are about to really change when you start hearing about rain coming back into California and the Pacific jet kicking in. Once we see that signal grow, I think the core of winter is over. I think we'll get into a much warmer setup. At the moment, I think the cold weather attacks will continue into February, but we are still primed for an active storm track. The only thing we'll have to start introducing into the narrative is because the sun angle is going to start ramping a little bit higher in the sky throughout the month of February. So not only will we have to worry about winter storms, but you have to worry about just plain heavy rain events. And in some cases, thunderstorms will start to get a little more into the picture, but it still looks active for the entire month. But I'm hoping, as far as the brutal cold air attacks, that next week, I'm hoping will be the last of it, but I don't want to say or jinx it. So there you go. That's where we stand right now on the outlook for the next 10 days and a little bit of a hint beyond. So let me get to some of your questions you've got. If you're going to be having plans here for the weekend, especially. Sean, I hate this cold. Yeah, I love snow. I cannot stand the cold. All right, I'm a big baby on that. If it could snow at 90, it'd be great if that would happen. Angie, there was there was ice on the Waterson this morning in the fast lane where the snow piles have melted. Good point, Angie. Yeah, areas, I mean, salt doesn't reach everywhere, right? So, and salt's ineffective too. So whenever you get these melting areas, you're thinking, oh, well, they've been treated. Everything will be fine. But if it's 5 degrees, no, the treatment is not going to work. So if it's shiny in front of you, what you're seeing likely is indeed ice. So please use some caution on these very cold mornings. Now, we'll improve a bit more as we get into the afternoon. Is there flood potential with the heavy rain add into the snow melt? Josh, I think I covered that. Sorry, I got a little bit, probably ahead of myself on that. But right now, no, as long as the rain doesn't get too heavy. If we stay in that 1/4 to 3/10 range, I think we can handle that. But if we get any heavier, we'll run into a few problems there. And certainly if we get into a rainy pattern in February, that will be a big issue. Let's see. Everyone seems all right. Okay, good. Very good, very good. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. Hold on. Let me get one more question in here, and then I got to head out. Do you think that we'll get any type of ice storm out of the southern storms? Well, Ren, because we're on the northern side, it's likely it would be snow for us. Sorry, it'd be ice for the southern areas. Both wintry systems right now, I think, would be more of an issue of snow versus ice, which would be good. But no doubt, as you get into February, you got to talk a little more about ice. So we got to watch it. And okay, I'll do a couple more. You guys are convincing me. Carrie, are there any alternatives to salt for melting snow, ice and snow? Yes. Well, not necessarily. There's a chemical they can put down of their like a salt mixture. They mix it with a couple other ingredients. That's more of a spray that's on the interstates. That can help somewhat, but in general, no. Once you get below, especially say 20 degrees, certainly below 15, salt's just not very effective at all. So there's not many alternatives. So we kind of just have to hope that we get sunshine, which is the reason why the deep south is always in trouble. They really have to wait till warmer weather because they just don't have the equipment or the ingredients to take care of snow and ice that far south. All right. It's a busy setup, but I think right now we've got a decent amount of control to where things are not too off the chain here as we head into the weekend. Just a few minor things to keep in mind. And next week is just got a big, giant question mark on it. I wish we had more data to go with right now, but it's so far out. The only thing we can see with high confidence, it's going to get cold. All right. Hang tight, guys. Try to stay warm. I'll see you guys coming up on midday at 11 o'clock this morning. Take care.